To the End, a new 2D side-scrolling adventure developed by Two Ton Studios and published by Big Sugar Games. A big thanks to them for kindly offering us a review code for the game, and just for clarity, I've not been asked to review with any stipulations and they've placed no restrictions on anything I show, so all opinions are nothing but my own. Unto the End is an incredibly challenging combat adventure game in the style of a cinematic platformer. The story is simple: get home to your family. I love the art style, it's fantastic. Everything has been handcrafted in Illustrator and rigged in the Unity engine, and what a brilliant job they've done. So simplistic yet full of life. And when I say they, I mean two people. A couple in fact. Two very talented individuals have put this together. It's amazing artwork and clear inspiration from games like Limbo and Inside. However, the snowy mountains offer a very welcome contrast to the dark, haunting caves. There's nothing welcoming about this game though, it's absolutely brutal. In fact, I'd confidently say it was a lot harder to master than any Souls game I've played before. My missus heard me getting so immersed in the freezing, brutal world that she was genuinely concerned when she heard my howls of agony because I died for the 412th time and came in to check on me. She found me fully immersed and dressed appropriately for battle like,
"Thank you for your concern. I will be fine. Please turn the thermostat up to 90 and leave me alone."
When you finally reach the end of a nightmarish cave to be greeted by the sun rays piercing in through the cave's entrance, it feels like you're finally safe. You couldn't be more wrong. You could not be more wrong. The character's blood looks brilliant as it splatters into the whistling wind and plops into the icy snow, and I got to see a lot of that. I love the vignette effect within the caves too, a 2D side-scrolling game somehow managing to make me feel claustrophobic. The caves sound so lonesome, with only occasional water drops that crackle from your torch and your cold and fearful breathing. The unfamiliar looming sounds off in the distance, accompanied by grinding, pulsating music that reminded me a little of Silent Hill. It really built tension and atmosphere to the point where I was reluctant to put my foot forward in the darkness. You start the game with all your abilities available to you, and the enemies typically get harder, but the only form of progression and possible upgrades available is the armour you start with. By scavenging for leather and sticks and bones, you eventually upgrade, but the progression really lies within you, yourself, as the player. It's one of a kind combat experience unlike anything I've played before. I remember the first time I played a Souls game and thought my game must be bugged because there's no way this should be this hard, and then it just clicks. That same satisfaction of conquering a new mechanic is very present here in Unto the End, but make no mistake, this is no Dark Souls mechanic. I got about 2/3 of the way through before having to admit defeat and lower the difficulty to be met by an incredibly mocking terminology. It was set to default. There's absolutely nothing default about this. The two modes available are default and assisted, and I needed assistance because even once you master the combat on assisted mode, I'd be confidently walking through a cave ready for my next fight, and then the environment would punish you like... The differences in difficulties are speed based, and assisted mode knocks off about 25% or so speed, giving you that extra vital split second to decide which direction to block. The unique style is simple but intense. The enemies are all varied in their attack animations and you'll quickly have to adapt to them, but they essentially attack high and low, and with your left stick flicking up blocks high attacks and flicking down blocks low attacks. You can shoulder charge to knock an enemy down, throw daggers and dodge roll out of the way of certain attacks, but the timing window is demanding absolute perfection. It's fast paced, blow for blow action where reading the enemy is key and will dictate how the fight plays out. You will die a lot, and I mean a lot, way more than any Souls game if you play on default. It broke me, man. It broke me to change to assisted mode because I just felt like...
I can't... That's fun. Why do they make that if you can't even win? Then why am I fucking playing?
The enemy's AI is brilliant. They regularly surround you and very rarely attack in the same pattern, so there's no memorizing or cheesing tactics here, just you and your reflexes. Eventually you'll learn the moveset of the enemy in your path, and like I mentioned, the satisfaction of conquering a new mechanic combined with that knowledge of an enemy attack pattern entering your muscle memory will bring that inner ginger warrior out of you like... As well as assisted mode, you can spar with the missus, which takes the player into a past memory of the character, reminiscing about all those times you were back home getting the shit kicked out of you by your wife. I mean, why have I been sent out hunting when she's clearly the muscle in the family? Another brutal element to the combat is you're only allowed one dagger at a time, and it must be manually picked up after every throw too. The same goes for your torch and even your sword. That's right, you can even have your sword knocked out of your hand mid-fight, leaving you defenseless, but calm and collected thinking with a well-timed roll to pick up your sword will put you right back in the fight. But if you panic, you're already dead before you're dead. Thankfully, the checkpoints are very frequent and load times are almost instant, so you're straight back into the fight. However, if you took damage from the previous fight, the game won't save at a checkpoint until you've eventually healed back up to full health. You can temporarily stop the bleeding by using herbs, but that's not bringing you back to full fitness. To do this, the player must either combine herbs to make a tonic or visit a bonfire, which aren't all that common. Here you can upgrade your armour and heal your wounds. Now, the best part of the game for me was that sense of wonder when dealing with the habitants of this world. Not all of them are hostile, and some will even make gestures asking you to sheath your weapon or signal for help. You can offer up some of your items from your backpack, and these can either be accepted and traded for an item to help you on your path, but can also lead to them being offended, resulting in a fight. These beasts are very territorial, and that mystery of how to approach the situation is fantastic. The enemies reminded me a little of the forest, where they'd sort of size you up and test the waters to see if you're a friend or foe before engaging or waiting for you to engage. I did come across one bug that happened twice throughout my first playthrough, which was where the enemy didn't have a death animation and just stood still after being killed. This was played in beta, so I'm sure this will get ironed out. I certainly hope so, because I've got to work so hard for my kills. I want to see them die. The biggest issue I had with the game was the price versus its length. Currently out for PC, PS4, Xbox, Switch and Stadia, the game sells at 25 notes, and considering I finished the game in 4 or 5 hours and I died a lot, I think that's a little too much. There'll be players much better than me that finish the game in half that time and will be left feeling a little shortchanged. Having said that, it's a totally fresh game with unique mechanics and brutal trial and error combat developed by 2 people who've done an incredible job. Our scores always try to include every factor, such as the expected quality from certain AAA developers compared to smaller devs, and 2Ton should be mega proud with this one. The game is short-lived and way too expensive considering, but I'm ready to jump right back in and see if I can play through the whole thing on default this time round. If you've enjoyed the review and want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a like, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.